The week leading up to free agency, we thought was going to be a boring one. It started off kind of slow with the franchise tagging, but in the last few days, things have picked up. So in this video today, we are going to discuss the Ravens secure a big piece to their defensive success. Also, we're going to discuss a division rival that is out here making moves. And lastly, we're going to talk about an old friend returns. Yes, you've been missing, but you are now back. So all this and more coming up now. So earlier this week, with the franchise tag being applied to Justin Madubuike, they were desperately trying to get him under a long-term deal, so his $22.1 million did not directly hit the cap and put the Ravens in a larger hole. But surprising to us all, only a few days later, the Baltimore Ravens signed Justin Madubuike to an extension. It is a 4-year, $98 million extension with a whopping $75.5 million guaranteed. It's a lot of money for a defensive tackle. Ugh, I'm not gonna lie to you, but once again, I'm all for the players. Get your money. Also, Justin receives $53.5 million at signing. So now where the Ravens once were in the negatives, we were over the cap. The Ravens are now about even, maybe close to $1 million over. It's hard to say. I know that Madubuike's cap hit is going to be around $11 million this season. And I think they finally figured out the numbers for Nelson Agholor and his cap hit this year. It took them long enough, but hey, they still had time. So with the Ravens securing Madubuike and freeing up some money, they can now focus their attention on pending free agents, re-signing their own and bringing in more. To me and a lot of other people, the focus is shifted to now, are the Ravens going to go out and sign one of these running backs with a little more breathing room? Are they willing to pony up $9 to $11 million for a top tier running back for a top tier running team? You put the two together, it just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You want to be the best running, so you possibly want to get one of the best running backs that you can. But let's not kid ourselves. This is the Baltimore Ravens, and their focus is heavily on defense. And they showed this by signing Madubuike to this huge deal. Now, to me, I can't say whether he is worth it or not just yet. He had an outstanding 13 sack, 64 pressure season. Outstanding, but it's 1 year. And sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is the case this year, sometimes this comes to bite us in the butt going forward. This is how we create those dead money hits. This is how we create the needing to restructure because that player doesn't live up to their contract and we have to eat that later on down the line. Pause. And then go out and sign somebody else, cut them, trade them, whatever. We currently have this conundrum with Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey. Hopefully this goes a little different. I'm just glad that the Ravens actually kept some young talent that they actually drafted. Normally they let them walk, but this time they kept them at home. So shout out to Justin Madubuike. Congratulations on your contract. And hopefully this is just the beginning, and 2023 will be your worst year going forward. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns. A lot of people do not honestly, especially in the Ravens flock, take the Cleveland Browns seriously. They believe that they're a joke franchise and go off of history, recent history, to try to determine what the Browns' future is going to be. Told you before last season, they were going to compete with the Ravens for the division lead, and that is without Nick Chubb. Told you that Cleveland was going to make some moves, and they were going to be a better franchise than they had been in the past. Now, if Deshaun Watson actually works out or plays even the slightest bit better, the Cleveland Browns could be a problem. And to counteract the Justin Madubuike signing, earlier today traded for Denver Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Now, I know last season Jerry Jeudy was linked to the Baltimore Ravens, but the Ravens decided to let that pass and not take a flyer on him. I understand Jerry Jeudy is not a 1,000-yard receiver, but given the circumstances that he had in Denver and Russell Wilson as his quarterback, it's hard to say. Because Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton had a connection, Jerry Jeudy was an afterthought. Not to say he played up to the level of being the 15th overall pick in the 2020 draft, but I do think he is a lot better than what the Baltimore Ravens have now. Even though they had the number 2 defense in the league last season, they didn't say, hey, let's go out here and get more defense. They said, you know what? The offense wasn't where it needed to be. It's not on the same level as our defense. Let's go out here and make a move to get better. They said when the offseason started, they were going to find a number 2 wide receiver to Amari Cooper. And that's exactly what they did. And they did this for a 5th and 6th round draft choice. And I think that part to me is the part that really doesn't sit right. a 5th and a 6th round pick. 2 players that inevitably probably aren't going to make your team. 2 players that you probably could find equal value with in the unrestricted free agent draft pool. And then if you actually circle it back to 2 years earlier, these same Cleveland Browns sent a 5th round pick and swapped 6th round picks to acquire Amari Cooper, perennial Pro Bowl Amari Cooper. So now the Cleveland Browns have Amari Cooper and they have Jerry Jeudy as their starting wide receivers. And that's not to say that they are finished. But to me, I think people are taking this trade lightly. They are not asking Jerry Jeudy to come in there and be the savior of the Cleveland Browns. And there was this one online publication that said Jerry Jeudy's not going to move the needle, but what if he does? What if Deshaun Watson puts it together? What if Jerry Jeudy lives up to that billing? And we're having Amari Cooper and David Njoku and possibly a returning Nick Chubb coming in. He is possibly the 3rd or 4th wheel on this team. So it's no pressure. And I think this is where I'm a little bit envious of another team. Unlike the Ravens, where we have defense and we continue to go more and more defense, the Cleveland Browns said we have a defense and yeah, we'll add pieces here and there. And they may even lose one with losing Zadarius Smith, but we're going to go all in and go offense because we did not score enough points versus the Houston Texans in the playoffs. They didn't say we need more defense to stop the Houston Texans. They said we need to go outscore teams. And this is one thing I think is the difference in the mindset of most other teams and the Ravens. Not to say which one is wrong or which one is right, but once again, what we've been doing has not been working. To me, I think that this trade does move the needle, especially for such a little price. A 5th and a 6th round pick that you would not miss. And I know Eric DeCosta loves his picks, but what do I trust more? Eric DeCosta drafting a wide receiver in the 5th or 6th round, or Jerry Jeudy giving us at least 700 yards in a season? Because the Ravens could have easily gone out and attained him. And that could have levied one of the needs that the team had, something we didn't have to worry about. Future contracts, we'll deal with that later. We do this all the time. But I guarantee you, he is a lot cheaper than paying for an Odell Beckham Jr. with more production. So an old friend is back.
Welcome back.
An old friend has returned. We missed you last year, or at least some people missed you last year because I didn't miss you. And that old friend is Mr. Compensatory Pick. The Ravens had a comp pick once again with the signing of guard Ben Powers to the Denver Broncos last year on his $51 million contract. The Ravens received pick 134 in the 4th round of the 2024 draft. Now, to me, couldn't care less. To some, this is a very big deal. Some people believe this is the thing that gives the Ravens an advantage. To me, I think the opposite. I think it is actually hindering the team. Since the Ravens have come into existence, they have had 56 compensatory picks, the most by far in the NFL. With those 56 compensatory picks, how many of them have been hits? It's really kind of hard to say, but it has not been many of them. To some, they say these are just extra picks that give us an advantage and more swings at bat to get that piece that's going to help out the team. To me, it says the Ravens have passed over on talent just to get an unknown pick. So for instance, instead of per se signing a Justin Jefferson, knowing what he can do, the Ravens are going to go in and get this comp pick and maybe draft Yamon Figures and hope and pray that he can actually do something. So to me, this is a detriment with that mindset, with that thinking that, hey, these extra picks are going to give us cheap options to further this team. And it has not worked so far, especially since I'm going to say 2013. So from 2013 on, these comp picks have not done much. And I think the Ravens owe it to themselves to put the best product on the field, not these cheap knockoffs that they hope and pray are going to make it. If you don't believe me, I'm going to give you a list of some of the really decent comp picks the Ravens have had. It's not many. Out of 56, it's really not many of them. So starting off in 1999, the Baltimore Ravens drafted Ed Mortallo, offensive lineman, specifically a guard, played a pivotal role in the season in the Super Bowl year. I liked Ed. He was a decent pickup, one of the better draft picks from the compensation pool. So I give them credit there. But then next, we have to jump all the way up to 2006. In 2006, the Ravens drafted punter Sam Cook. So jump forward 7 years and it's a punter. Really good pick, like Sam Cook, but they got a punter in the undrafted free agency pool. But I like Sam Cook. Decent pick. Then we have to go up to 2011, where the Ravens drafted Pernell McPhee. Now, Pernell McPhee was a decent draft pick, liked him, signed elsewhere, made some money, came back to the Ravens, did really well. Not a stellar career, but better than most. So I put him to the list of the above average players that the Ravens have got from comp picks. Now, lastly, we're going to go into 2013, the last year that the Ravens had a really decent crop of compensatory picks, players that did something in the league. And the first is fullback Kyle Juszczyk. who played a pivotal role in the Ravens getting to the 2012 Super Bowl. His thing got his ring and went over to the San Francisco 49ers. Or to this day, he's still out there doing everything he needs to do. He's still out there balling. He's still the best fullback in the league. So Ravens get an A+ on that one. Can't hold you. Out of Princeton, however, wherever he came from, some Ivy League school, they found a fullback who can do it all. But I think he has been the best compensatory pick out of them all. Good job, Ravens. Was it worth it? And also, the Ravens drafted tackle Ricky Wagner, who was his last season with us, did really well. And then he got the big free agent deal, I think, with Green Bay, went on to play for Detroit, and I think injuries took a toll. He was a highly regarded tackle in this league. So the Ravens hit it out the park with those 2 draft picks in 2011. I think that's kind of why, did our thing, went to the AFC Championship in 11 and won a title in 12. But out of 56 players, I just named 5. Is it worth it? And then I think 12% of those 56 never played a down in the NFL. 12% never played a down. So is this formula working for the Ravens? You guys let me know. I know some of you love it, some of you hate it. To me, it's a burden. Don't sign somebody and try to get them after the fact when they don't count. And now I'm going to wait for all the really good talent to be drawn away. And I'm going to pick over the leftovers so I can get an extra draft pick. That is not helping Lamar. This is not helping the team be the best version of themselves, get to where they want to be. So to me, if it has not been working, which it has not, and I understand we took that step forward this year and played an extra game, but for the most part, this has not been working. Leave the comp picks alone. Sign the guys that can actually help this team thrive. Help Lamar get to that next level. I don't play for the team. I, more than anything, want Lamar Jackson to win a Super Bowl. If I had one wish, that would be it. Get Lamar his Super Bowl to quiet down the naysayers, to quiet down the doubters that do not believe he is an NFL quarterback. And I know it's not going to quell everything altogether. It will at least slow things down. So, Baltimore Ravens, I plead with you. Let's take a different route this year. Sign the players that we need to sign. Already missed out on 1 wide receiver. Let's not blow this opportunity to take the next step to get to a Super Bowl. Your boy is back. YouTube decided they finally were going to monetize my channel once again. So we back, baby. So make sure you like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you know when I come out with new videos. And until the next one, which will probably be tomorrow night, if not tonight. We'll be doing Hang with Hendo tonight, but that just might be for patrons. So until next time.